So now we saw two applications. One is your BT cotton and the other one is your insulin gene. Okay. So if you see that insulin, A and B chains are produced separately and then they're linking it by the disulfide linkages because they're not able to produce the uh, pro-insulin. Okay. Only the mature insulin, they're cloning it separately and joining it. Now the next application is your RNA interference. So this is a concept. Okay, this concept happens, this particular mechanism happens in our body also. So if you can recall your transcription and translation. Okay, so I told you I can regulate my uh, protein control. See, gene, that is your DNA, mRNA, protein. Okay, if you have the gene, it is not necessary you have to get the protein always. Okay, I can control the production of the protein in the DNA level, mRNA level. Okay, and so these are the levels wherein I can control. So you cannot blindly say if I have the gene, I'll get the product. There might be some controlling mechanisms also. Okay, so this RNA interference is one such mechanism. I'm going to use this mechanism for the benefit of the plants. Okay, so let's see how it works. See, first of all, what is RNA interference is that from the DNA, you'll get your mRNA, correct? And this mRNA should be single stranded for the production of protein, correct? So what I will do in RNA interference is that I'm not going to do anything with this DNA. I will block this mRNA. Okay, so by using a short double stranded DNA, which is complementary to my mRNA. Okay, so I will block my RNA by using a short sense and antisense RNAs. Okay, so that ways this will go and block my mRNA. When my mRNA is blocked, I will not get the proteins. So this is interfering with the RNA. Okay, small particles are interfering with the RNA. So this mechanism happens in our body for regulation. Okay, so if I have to stop down the production of certain products, okay, so then I'll use this mechanism kind of things happens. Okay, but now what I'm doing here is I'm using it for the application thing. How am I using this? Okay, this was used in the worm called as Meloidine incognita. So this is a nematode worm. Okay, so this worm is they saw that this worm is destroying your plants. Okay, so so what happened is that mostly, okay, so this plant is found to destroy most of your useful leguminous plants. Okay, that is the roots. So what they do is that uh, in this plant, okay, so whichever plant they have to grow, okay, in this plant they have introduced the DNA, sorry, they have introduced the short primers. Okay, so what is this primers going to do is that these primers will bind with the important protein or very basic protein of your worm. Okay, I repeat, so this is destroying the plant A. Okay, to this plant, okay, I have injected the sense and antisense RNA. The gene which can produce, or the RNAs itself. Sense and antisense RNA producing gene is introduced into the plant. Now what happens? This sense and antisense RNA will suppress the protein production of the worm. Okay, and this protein is very crucial for the development of the worm. Okay, so what happens when this worm is eating this plant? Obviously, this sense and antisense RNAs are released. So imagine this is for the worm. Okay, the worm is eating the plant, and this is the worm's DNA. This is the worm's RNA. The double-stranded antisense and sense which I have injected here will bind with the worm's DNA. So what happens? This mRNA is not translated. So there is no protein and ultimately the worm dies. Okay, so ultimately the worm will end up dying. So the name of the worm is Meloidium incognita, that is a nematode worm, which is the biggest pest. So to control this, I am using this RNA interference. Okay, so this is a very, actually they're using this technique for controlling the growth of your cancerous cells also. In many researches, recent happenings, this technique is being used for controlling the growth of cancerous cells. Okay, now how will you, okay, so all these concepts are fine. Now, how will you give this sense and antisense RNA to the plant? Is there any shorter way, better way? Okay, should I go and inject into each plant? No need. Okay. So what you can do is, you know, a natural vector, which we've seen yesterday, that is nothing but the Agrobacterium tumefaciens. Correct? So we've seen that this is a natural vector. So what I will do is, I will take this Agrobacterium. See, this is mainly affecting your tobacco plant. Also this affects other plants, but here it is mainly for the tobacco plant. So this Agrobacterium tumefaciens is taken. Okay. So you know that the plasmid inside is nothing but the Ti plasmid, and the DNA is the tDNA. Okay. So to this tDNA part, I will introduce this gene which is producing sense and antisense RNA. So by inserting this in the tDNA part, insertional inactivation, correct? So this kind of bacterium, I'll get it ready in the laboratory, okay? And then I will spread it to the plants, the roots. They live in the roots, okay? So what happens, Agrobacterium will be outside and this plasmid is injected inside. So this plasmid is naturally given to the plants with the help of your this insertional, this Agrobacterium tumefaciens, okay? So this is how it is all done, okay? So if at all you want to introduce something, take Agrobacterium, introduce a gene in the tDNA part and put it back in the soil so that they will replicate. Along with that, the gene inside will replicate and it will be delivered to the plants. So we don't have to manually deliver each and every gene for the plant, okay? So this is how the Agrobacterium is serving the mainly the agricultural industry and the biotechnology, okay? So fine. So this is all about your RNA interference. Okay, so after treatment, you've seen that the nodules are reduced and it is far better. The impact of the worm is far better. Okay. So this is all about the RNA interference. And the next concept or the next application which we are going to see is your gene therapy. Okay, so I've listed the therapeutic application. So what is a gene therapy is that, see, this applies only for the diseases wherein the genes are not there or the protein is not there. Okay, so this is not applicable for the chromosomal abnormalities. Okay, this is not applicable for any other physiological disorders. No, this is only applicable for the ailments wherein the genes are not produced. Okay, fine. So what happened is that if that protein is not there, okay, say protein A is not there, that is why the person has got the disease, then I will give protein A artificially produced by RNA technology as a treatment. Okay, so this is what is done. So one example, I think in 1990 the first therapy was done, okay, and that is for a 4 to 5 year old girl, and she has got the problem with ADA, that is adenosine deaminase. ADA stands for adenosine deaminase. It is a enzyme. Okay, so the, adenosine deaminase is an enzyme. So there was a deficiency of this enzyme, adenosine deaminase deficiency. So that has actually resulted in a very serious disorder because this enzyme is very much needed for removing the toxins from the body. So without this, the child, it's very hard for the child to survive. Okay, because this mainly deals with your immunology, immune system. So when this is not there, the immune system is like very bad. Okay, so fine, there is a deficiency. Initially what they did is that, okay, see, for this deficiency you can treat them in 3 ways. First ways wherein you can treat them is that this is produced from the bone marrow. The immune cells are produced from the bone marrow, correct? So first option is that they can go for bone marrow transplant. So this was the first solution given. Okay, so when you change, because from the bone marrow only the immune cells are produced. So if you change the bone marrow, it gives you a better new immune cell, so you can, that will be a effective thing. That is one. Second treatment is that I will give this ADA protein. I mean, I'll culture the enzyme outside, okay, and then I'll give the protein ADA through the injections, okay. So adenosine, sorry, not the protein, it's the ADA enzyme. Injections, okay. So this is not there, so I'm just giving the injections, okay. Okay, and the last one is your gene therapy. See, if you see the first two cases, these two are not permanent solution, you know. See, bone marrow transplant, it can help them for a while. Again, you have to transplant, okay. Again, the disease spreads. So here, you have to keep on giving the injection. So both are not a permanent cure. But gene therapy is a permanent cure, okay. So what I'll do in gene therapy is that I will give the ADA cDNA. That means I'll give the ADA adenosine deaminase gene. Okay, cDNA is nothing but your gene. Okay, DNA is gene, complementary DNA. Okay, so what happens is this, if I give it together, I mean this, if I give it to the patient, what happens? This gene will produce the adenosine deaminase. So this gene, so how will I give is that I will take, see for example, the person A has got the disease. Okay, I will collect lymphocytes. I will collect, because I told you this deals with the immune cells. So I will collect the lymphocytes of the person. Okay, and I will infect these lymphocytes through some retrovirus, because I told you for the mammalian cell the best vectors are your retrovirus. So through this retrovirus, I will insert this ADNA cDNA, that is your adenosine gene. So as soon as these cells are taken, this is the person's own lymphocytes. So as soon as these cells have taken this gene, what happens? I'll put them back into the person. So what happens? Now, earlier his own cells were not able to synthesize adenosine. Now his own lymphocytes have that capability of synthesizing the adenosine, because I've given them the gene. So as these cells grow, then ADA is also can be produced. So it is a natural cure. It is like in gene therapy, you're restoring the original condition. Okay, you're not giving any supplements or anything. You just see this is not there in the cell. That is why the problem. Let me give it off to that cell through the plasmid so that it will become normal. So that is a concept. Okay. So this is how it is all done, and then they're taken back and introduced into the person again. So this method is found to be more effective, because see, first of all, I'm not giving anybody else bone marrow or something. It is the person's own cells. Okay. So the result and the side effects will be less. The results will be comparatively better. So as long as gene therapy is confirmed, concerned, the earlier you do, okay, the earlier you do, the better effect you can see. For example, if you analyze, if you diagnose this disease, okay, so if you start this treatment at the earlier stages, when the child is being born, as it grows, along with the defective cells, this corrected cells will also grow. The impact will be more. But the person is completely grown and then you're introducing this. The defective cells are already dominating, so impact will be less. So the earlier you treat the person with gene therapy, the better will be the impact and the outcome. So that is how it is said. So this gene therapy is also one of your biotechnology application. Okay.